Assalamu alaikum, this is Maria Zulfikar welcoming you all to the English news from BTV Chattogram. Let's begin with the headlines. Peace in Myanmar essential as Rohingyas eager to return to their country, says UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres voices concern for declining humanitarian aid for Rohingya refugees at meetings with Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus. Bangladesh Railway starts selling advance intercity train tickets ahead of upcoming Eid al-Fitr. Russian President Vladimir Putin questions US brokered proposal for ceasefire in Ukraine war, setting tough conditions. And quarter-finalists finalized after exciting last 16 clash in UEFA Champions League. Viewers, those were the headlines. Now moving on to the details. United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres said peace in Myanmar is essential and Rohingyas sheltered in Bangladesh are eager to return to their country. He said this while visiting the Rohingya camp in Ukia of Cox's Bazar along with the Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus. The UN Secretary-General visited Camp number 18 in Ukia in the afternoon there. He visited the Learning Center and talked with Rohingya children. Then the UN Secretary-General visited the Rohingya Cultural Memorial Center there. He spoke to the people of the Rohingya community. He said a quality life is needed in the Rohingya camps. The UN will take all measures to ensure their food security. He visited the Rohingya Cultural Center, the Jute Goods Production Center, and various cultural products related to the Rohingya culture. Following the visit, UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres and Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus joined an iftar with nearly 1 lakh Rohingya refugees in Ukia. Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus today visited 2 sites of under-constructed Cox's Bazar Airport. Earlier, the Chief Advisor and United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres reached Cox's Bazar by a Biman flight. Disaster Management and Relief Advisor Farooq-e-Azam received them at Cox's Bazar Airport. Later, the Chief Advisor visited 2 sites of under-constructed Cox's Bazar International Airport. Superintending Engineer of the Civil Aviation Authority, Aminul Hasib, briefed the Chief Advisor about the progress of the construction work. Senior officials were present on the occasion. He said about 95% of the construction work of the international airport has been completed. The remaining work is expected to be completed by December this year. The Chief Advisor was improved that 40 to 50 aircraft will be operated from this airport every day. Later, the Chief Advisor visited the Kurushkul Climate Refugee Center, the world's biggest housing project for climate refugees in Cox's Bazar. Under the project, more than 4,000 climate refugee families would be rehabilitated at the site. The land area of the project is about 253.59 acres. Earlier, visiting United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres expressed his full support for the reform process initiated by Bangladesh's interim government and voiced concern for declining humanitarian aid for more than 1 million Rohingya refugees living in the country's southeast. The UN Secretary-General came up with this observation during a meeting with Bangladesh Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus this morning. During our long meeting, he hoped the reforms would lead to a free and fair election and a real transformation of the country. Guterres said he has also in Dhaka to express solidarity with Myanmar's forcibly displaced Rohingya people during the Muslim holy month of Ramadan. Guterres also expressed the UN's enormous gratitude to Bangladesh for hosting the Rohingya refugees. Professor Yunus thanked the UN Secretary General for visiting the country at such a crucial time. UN Secretary General visit is timely not only for the Rohingya people but also for Bangladesh, he said. The chief advisor briefed Guterres about the reform process, saying about 10 political parties have already submitted their responses to the reports of the 6 reform commissions constituted by the interim government. The chief advisor reaffirmed his commitment to holding free, fair, and participatory elections. Professor Yunus sought the support of the Secretary General for the dignified return of the Rohingyas to their homeland and in the meantime mobilizing adequate food and humanitarian assistance for the 1.2 million refugees. Foreign Advisor Tauhid Hussain, High Representative of the Chief Advisor Dr. Khalilur Rahman, and Senior Secretary Lamia Morshid were present during the meeting. UN Under-Secretary General Rabab Fatima and UN Resident Coordinator to Bangladesh, Gwen Lewis, also attended the meeting. Earlier in the morning, Foreign Advisor Mohammad Tauhid Hussain made a courtesy call on United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres at a Hotel Intercontinental. Chief Advisor's High Representative on the Rohingya issue and Priority Affairs, Dr. Khalilur Rahman, was present at that time. They discussed various bilateral issues, including Rohingya crisis. Ahead of the upcoming Eid al-Fitr, Bangladesh Railways started selling advance intercity train tickets this morning. Tickets for 24th of March were available online from 8 a.m. today. According to the railway authorities, 100% of advance tickets will be sold online and the sale will continue for 7 days. It has been announced by the authorities that no advance tickets will be sold at the countries. However, there have been mixed reactions among the general public regarding the sale of 100% tickets online. Passengers are saying that while tickets are being sold online to prevent black marketing, irregularities still persist. They also alleged schedules collapse of trains. Experts are suggesting that in addition to the online system, a manual system should also be maintained to make tickets accessible for people of all classes. Railway officials said that people from all social classes are able to purchase tickets online and they are making efforts to prevent black marketing. This year, a total of 35,315 advance tickets are being sold daily from Dhaka. In total, nearly 5 lakh tickets will be sold over the next 7 days, including intercity, commuter, and mail trains. A plastic exchange corner was launched at Kazi Dairy Kitchen Market in Chattogram City. City Mayor Dr. Shaadat Hussain inaugurated it at noon. The mayor said there is no alternative to cleanliness to make Chattogram City a green, clean and healthy city. He said plastic and polythene are blocking the flow of water in the city's drains, sewage systems and canals. As a result, drains and canals are being filled up. For this reason, plastic and polythene waste is being collected. In the exchange program, 1.5 kilograms of potato or 1 kilogram of onion or half a kilogram of beaten rice or 3 eggs or 2.5 grams of chickpea are being given in exchange for 1 kilogram of plastic. 150 grams of dates or the same amount of the mentioned product are being given in exchange for 2 kilograms of plastic. This program is being run at Chowk Bazar, Bahadur Hat, Kazi Dairy and Agrabad of the city. The exchange program will run from 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. The City Corporation will launch this program in 41 wards of the city in phases. Now, international news. Russian President Vladimir Putin questioned the United States' brokered proposal for a ceasefire in the Ukraine war, setting forth tough conditions and demanding concessions from Kiev, despite saying he supported a truce in theory. Putin said that at a news conference, repeating the Kremlin's previous claims that the current Ukrainian government is part of the underlying problem. Though the United States' idea is great and correct, many things still need to be discussed, he said, adding that maybe he would call US President Donald Trump. Ukrainian officials had accepted the US proposal for a 30-day ceasefire covering the entire front line after holding talks with US counterparts in Saudi Arabia earlier this week. Meanwhile, Putin's comments quickly drew condemnation from Kiev, with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky accusing the Russian leader of dragging out the negotiations rather than rejecting the deal completely. Later, Trump called Putin's response promising but not complete. The new multiple entry travel pass for foreign investors and businessmen will allow them to remain in the country for a period of 6 months with the possibility of extensions. Home Minister Saifuddin Nasution Ismail says the pass will be issued to investors and businessmen entering Malaysia from April 1. Saifuddin said the new scheme, known as the Investor Pass scheme, was aimed at making it easier for foreign investors who have committed investments in Malaysia to enter the country. Through this facility, foreign investors will be allowed to enter Malaysia for a 6-month period, which can then be extended a further 6 months subject to the needs of the applicant, he said in a statement. He also said that there is currently no specific travel pass for foreign investors who are only given social visit passes valid for 14 to 90 days, depending on their home country. He said the Investor Pass scheme would be implemented through the ministry's Expats Gateway, where more information could also be found. Syria kept a central role for Islamic law in a constitutional declaration issued on Thursday, which guarantees women's rights and freedom of expression during a 5-year transitional period, according to the summary read on TV. The declaration is designed to serve as the foundation for the interim period, being led by President Ahmed al-Shara, a Sunni Islamist who spearheaded a lightning offensive that toppled Bashar al-Assad from power in December. Islamic jurisprudence will be the main source of legislation, according to the summary read out during the signing ceremony, that seemed to differ from the previous constitution, which called it is a main source of legislation. Shara, who has promised to run Syria in an inclusive way, has been grappling with the biggest test of his leadership in the wake of a wave of sectarian killing in the coastal region, blamed on fighters aligned with his government. He appointed the committee to draft the declaration less than 2 weeks ago.